What if I told you that everything you've been taught about confidence is a lie? That, fake it till you make it, garbage. It's keeping you stuck. You see, confidence isn't some magical trait that only a few lucky people have. It's a skill. Most of us are getting it completely wrong. Here's the kicker, you'll never get there unless you start doing these things. Trust me. Some of them will make you uncomfortable. Ready to get real? Let's dive in. 1. Stop comparing yourself to others. This might be hard for you to hear. I know you're guilty of it. We all are. Comparing yourself to others is like playing a game that no one ever wins. I understand why you do it. You scroll through Instagram and see people with perfect bodies or six-packs. Perfect body. Dave with his six-figure startup. You start thinking, wow. I'm doing nothing with my life. Sound familiar? Trust me. I've been there. I used to scroll through social media and see all these people living their best lives, while I was sitting there eating cold pizza in my pajamas. Feeling like when you're just starting out, it can feel like you're not achieving anything. It's easy to get a sense of inadequacy. Here's the thing, social media doesn't always show the full picture. It's not always about the highlights. Example. Karen might not share the moments when she's overwhelmed and feeling down. Dave might not post about the nights he can't sleep, worrying about his business. When you compare your progress to others, it can make you feel like you're falling behind. You're comparing your successes to someone else's failures. It's like comparing your Monday morning to their Saturday night. They're not even playing the same game. Comparing yourself to others is a trap. It will kill your confidence faster than anything else. You're running your race, not theirs. If you keep looking at other people's lanes, you're going to trip over your own feet. Everyone's journey is different. You don't know the struggles they've been through. You're comparing your behind-the-scenes life to their public one. They don't know what yours is like. The only person you should compare yourself to is the version of you from yesterday. Are you better than you were last week? Last month? That's what matters. I wasted years of my life trying to catch up to people who I thought were ahead of me. I had friends who had the perfect job, the perfect life. Even strangers who seemed like they had it all together. It wasn't until I stopped chasing their definition of success and you're comparing your focus on my own path that I started to feel real confidence. Guess what? You'll never be them. You're you. That's your power. Your journey is unique. No one else can live it but you. And look. If all else fails, just remember this, no one's thinking about you as much as you think they are. Most people are too busy worrying about their own stuff to even notice. Stop wasting time trying to measure up to some imaginary standard that doesn't exist. The truth is this, when you stop comparing yourself to others, you start finding peace in who you are. And with that peace comes confidence that it's not about being the best. It's about being your best. You don't need to be Karen or Dave. You just need to be you, and trust me. When you do that, life gets a whole lot lighter. So next time you catch yourself comparing, stop and remind yourself, I'm running my own race. And honestly, that's the only race worth winning. Cut off toxic people, okay? I'm just gonna say it, you've got to cut off toxic people, yes. I said it, snip snip, and before you start feeling all defensive. Let's be real for a second, you know exactly who I'm talking about. You've got that one friend, family member, you're comparing your behind-the-scenes worker who's always draining your energy, making you doubt yourself, just bringing constant negativity into your life. You keep them around because you feel guilty. You've known them forever. Sorry. That's no excuse to let them hold you back from being the confident, thriving person you're meant to be. Look. I used to be a people you're comparing your life to others' lives. You're not seeing the full picture. I thought I could fix things. Help people see the light. Make everyone happy. It never worked. I'd leave every conversation with certain people feeling exhausted. Like they had sucked the life right out of me. These people would complain about everything. Never celebrate my wins. Somehow always make me feel guilty for their problems. At some point, I had to realize that these people are toxic and no amount of positive vibes is going to change that. Now, here's where it gets uncomfortable. Some of those toxic people are going to be people you're close to. Maybe it's a childhood friend who's been in your life for years but constantly drags you into their drama is not real. Maybe it's even a family member. Yes. I said it, family can be toxic. 2. We're taught to think that family members are exempt from criticism because of their relationship. But let me tell you something, your sanity is more important than any guilt trip your toxic family member is trying to pull. I had a friend. Let's call him Mike. We've been you compare your friends for years. At first it's great. Over time, you start to feel drained every time you hang out with Mike. He talks down to you and makes sarcastic comments about your goals. If you accomplish something, he shrugs it off. You start doubting yourself. Thinking maybe you're overreacting. Maybe I need to try harder to support him. One day, I realized that Mike wasn't the problem. I wasn't doing anything wrong by growing. He couldn't handle it. I had to make the painful decision to cut ties. It felt great. Now, I'm not saying you have to send a breakup text like, "Hey, you're toxic. Bye." But if that's your style, I respect it. You do need to set boundaries and limit your exposure to people who aren't adding to your life, if they keep crossing those boundaries. It's time to get rid of the negative relationships in your life. If they don't make you happy, get rid of them. Your environment shapes you more than you realize. This includes the people you spend time with. If you're always around people who are negative, draining, toxic, it will start to affect your mindset. You can't be confident when you're surrounded by people who are always negative or make you question your self-worth are not good for you. Confidence grows in positive, supportive environments, not in negative ones. It's hard to cut toxic people out of your life. It's uncomfortable. It might make you feel like the bad guy. Here's the truth. You're not responsible for fixing other people's problems. You're responsible for protecting your peace. When you do that, you'll start to notice how much lighter, happier, more confident you feel. I did. Once I started putting distance between myself and those people. Toxic influences can make it hard to focus on your goals. Happiness. Growth. It can feel like you can't breathe. So, it might be controversial. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your confidence is to end bad relationships. Life's too short to deal with people who make you feel bad. Surround yourself with people who make you feel good. Trust me, you'll thank yourself later. And remember, this isn't about being cruel or heartless. It's about self-respect, means realizing that your time, energy, mental well-being are valuable. It's important to protect your time, energy, mental well-being. When you prioritize yourself, you become more confident. This is how you create a life where you're in control. Not toxic people. If you have a microphone or a friend who's always negative, you know what to do. Cut it out. You deserve better. We all do. Speak up. This might make some of you uncomfortable. Let's be honest. You need to speak up. Don't say, "But I don't want to cause drama." Or, "I'm just not a confrontational person." Stop. Silence is not a virtue. Silence keeps you invisible. You think you're keeping the peace by staying quiet. Really? You're just shrinking yourself down to make other people comfortable. Let's be honest. That's not confidence. That's self-sabotage. Look. I understand. I used to be very quiet. I'd sit in meetings and nod along. Even though I had questions. Ideas. Even disagreements. I didn't want to be that person who speaks up and makes everyone uncomfortable. Pause. I thought staying quiet made me easygoing. It was really just me letting fear run the show. Here's where it gets real. People aren't going to magically know your thoughts or opinions unless you speak them out loud. Shocking. Right? And while I'm at it, let's drop this. Don't be ridiculous. Don't stay silent to avoid causing problems. The boat needs to be rocked sometimes. Confidence isn't about keeping things smooth and easy. It's about being real and showing up fully as yourself. Even when your voice might upset some people. Here's the controversial part: if you don't speak up, you're helping to keep yourself hidden. Harsh. Maybe true. Staying quiet because you're afraid of what others might think is a sure way to make sure your ideas, your needs, even you respect is about understanding that your time, energy, thoughts are all valuable. It's like showing up to a party but standing in the corner, waiting for someone to invite you to join the conversation. The truth is, that's not going to happen. If you want to be heard, you have to speak up. I remember the first time I really pushed myself to speak up. I'll never forget it. I was at work. There was this big meeting where everyone was agreeing on a project plan that I knew wasn't going to work. But I was sitting there, thinking, should I say something? Am I going to look silly? It's about realizing that if you speak up, you're being rude. But I felt like I had to say something. I didn't just nod along. I finally blurted it out. Actually, I don't think this is the best approach. The room went silent. In that moment, I wanted to crawl under the table and disappear. Here's the twist. After that awkward silence, the conversation completely shifted. People started asking me questions, digging into the points I raised. Get this, we ended up changing the entire plan. My idea actually made things better. Who knew? That moment was a wake-up call. It's about understanding that your time, energy, mental well-being are more important than anything else right now. I realized that every time I didn't speak up, I was doing a disservice not just to myself, to the people around me. Sometimes your voice is the one that's needed. Speaking up isn't just about you. It's about the value you bring to the conversation. When you speak up, you give other people permission to think differently, to question the status quo, to see things from a new perspective. Your voice matters, even when you doubt it. If you keep it locked inside, no one benefits from your insight or your ideas, your experiences. And that's a tragedy because the world needs more real voices, not fewer. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. What if I'm wrong? Good. Be wrong. That's part of the process. You're not going to get it right every time. That's how you develop real confidence. Knowing that even if you're wrong, it's okay. You can handle it. The point is, you're in the game. You're contributing. That builds self-esteem. Here's a secret: people who speak up even when they're wrong are often more respected than those who stay silent. Why? They have the courage to share their thoughts. They believe in themselves enough to speak up. This is confidence in action. Beyond the meetings. Awkward moments. Fear of judgment. Speaking up is about something even deeper. It's about self-respect. Yourself. Tell yourself that your voice is just as important as anyone else's. Tell yourself that your thoughts, feelings, perspectives deserve to be heard. If you don't advocate for yourself, who will? Confidence isn't waiting for someone else to give you permission to speak. It's taking the floor and saying, "I belong here." The next time you're sitting in a meeting, at a dinner table, in any situation where you feel that itch to speak up but hesitate, don't jump in and say your piece. Take responsibility for your actions. Whether you're right, wrong, somewhere in between, at least you have the courage to speak up. Trust me. That courage is what builds real confidence. Plus, if you're like me, half the time people will be thinking, "I was wondering the same thing. Didn't want to say it." You're doing everyone a favor. Speak up. Shake things up a little. Stop being a background character in your own story. Take the microphone and own your spotlight. You've earned it. Fail a lot. Okay. Get ready. I'm about to share some hard-to-hear truths. You need to fail. Not just a little bit. A lot. I'm talking about major failures. What am I doing? Here's the kicker. Failure is not just inevitable, it's essential. Yeah. I said it. You're not going to be confident. Get ready to mess up. That's how you build real confidence. I know failing isn't fun. Nobody wakes up and says, "Today I'm going to totally screw everything up." But if you're afraid of failure, you'll never push yourself hard enough to achieve anything meaningful. You'll play it safe. It's important to stick to what you know. But guess what? There's no growth in your comfort zone. Confidence isn't built by avoiding failure. It's built by facing it. Taking the hit. Getting back up. Each time you do, you're telling yourself, "I can handle this." I used to be so scared of failure that I wouldn't even try. I was afraid to try new things unless I was almost completely sure that I would succeed. It was a sad way to live. I was always in my own little world, watching other people take risks, wondering why I wasn't doing the same. Then one day, I failed big time. I failed a project at work that I had been sure I would do well on. I'm talking about a complete-on crash and burn. I was in a bad situation. I felt embarrassed. Frustrated. Like giving up. Something weird happened. I didn't die. The world didn't end. I wasn't struck by lightning. I survived. In fact, after the initial pain wore off, I realized that failing was actually kind of liberating. Once I'd gotten over the fear of it, I realized I had way more freedom. I stopped worrying. There's a lot of emphasis on being perfect. I've learned that it's okay to take more risks. I've failed many times. Each time, I've learned from my mistakes and become better. That's the secret no one talks about: failure. It's like going to the gym to improve your confidence. You don't get stronger by lifting light weights, you get stronger by pushing past your limits and feeling the burn. Here's where I'm going to lose some people. I'm going to say it anyway. If you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. That's right. If your life is full of easy wins and smooth sailing, you're playing way too small. It's not a badge of honor to say you've never failed at anything. It's a sign that you're scared of growth. Look, failure isn't just learning from your mistakes and proving to yourself that you can survive them is the key to building real confidence. You gain confidence not by avoiding failure, by learning to handle it and come out stronger on the other side. Let's look at some of the most prominent people who have faced challenges and overcome them. Steve Jobs. Example. Was fired from the company he founded. Apple. Oprah. J.K. Rowling was fired from her first TV job and rejected by 12 publishers before her Harry Potter series became a global success. These people weren't just confident, they were confident enough to fail and try again. If they had given up after their first failure, we wouldn't have iPhones. The Oprah Winfrey Show. The Wizarding World. One of my favorite failures, believe me, I've had plenty, was when I tried launching my first business that I poured my heart and soul and all my savings into it, thinking I was about to take over the world, and guess what? It flopped hard, like I had to move back in with my parents. At first, I was devastated. I felt like a total loser, but after a while, I realized failure taught me more than success ever did. That I learned about perseverance, resourcefulness. Most importantly, that I could bounce back. Failure made me more confident. Not less. That it's like once you've failed, you're less scared of failing. It's already happened. You survived. That's the deeper message here. Failure doesn't define you. It refines you. It strips away the ego, the perfectionism, the fear of judgment. Shows you what you're really made of. Every failure is a stepping stone, not a dead end. The more you fail, the more you learn, the stronger you become. Failure builds resilience. Resilience is the foundation of real, unshakable confidence. Surround yourself with people who uplift you. Alright. Let's get into one of the most obvious yet weirdly controversial truths. You need to surround yourself with people who uplift you. I know it sounds like something you'd find on a cheesy motivational poster. Bear with me because this is where most people get it wrong. You can't build confidence in an environment full of people who secretly want to see you fail or keep you small. Nope. You need a squad that supports you, challenges you, most importantly, believes in you. Here's the twist. Sometimes, the people you thought were your biggest supporters aren't. That's where it gets tricky. Here's where I might upset a few people. Let's be real. If the people closest to you aren't cheering you on, pushing you to grow, holding you accountable for your actions, they're not really your supporters. BS, they're not making you feel better, they're making you feel worse. Here's the kicker, it's not always obvious. Sometimes it's the subtle stuff. Like a compliment that isn't really meant as a compliment. That one friend who goes suspiciously silent when you talk about your goals. That's a red flag. My friends. If someone sometimes, when a person is growing, they might have a hard time with a relationship. I'll tell you something that happened to me. I had a friend named Sarah. We were close for a long time. Always spending time together and talking. After a while, I noticed something. Every time I achieved something or shared an accomplishment, Sarah either made it seem less important or ignored it. If I told her about a new opportunity, she'd say, "That's nice. Are you sure you're ready for it?" It wasn't obvious. It was there. It felt like she had a negative attitude. Like she couldn't stand it. I remember when I first started setting boundaries and limiting my time with people who weren't supporting my growth. At first, I thought it was just me. I thought, oh, she's just looking out for me. But the more it happened, the more I realized that wasn't true. She wasn't looking out for me, she was holding me back. Now, here's where it gets controversial. You might need to let go of some relationships. Even the ones that have been around for years. If they're not serving your growth. Yes. That includes close friends and sometimes even family. Look. I know we're all told that loyalty is everything. Blind loyalty to people who don't uplift you is just self-destructive, destruction with a nice label on it. You don't have to give anyone your time or energy. If they're always making you feel small. Questioning your dreams. Period. I remember when I first started setting boundaries. Limiting my time with people who weren't supporting my growth. It felt weird. Uncomfortable. I worried that I was being selfish or too harsh. The more I distanced myself from the negativity made my path clearer. You know what? It made room for the right people. The people who really wanted to see me succeed. Who cheered me on when I was feeling down. Pushed me to do my best. Let me tell you. Finding the right people to cheer you on is like going from a rusty old bicycle to a sports car. Suddenly, everything feels faster. Smoother. More fun. You should surround yourself with people who make you feel like anything is possible. Avoid people who are secretly hoping you stay in the same place so they can feel better about their own stagnation. Remember the saying. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Well, let's do the math. Look at your social circle. Are they inspiring you or draining you? Are they pushing you forward or pulling you back? Your answer is the second one. You have to make some decisions. My friend. Yes. That might mean you need to get rid of the people in your social circle who don't make you happy. If they don't make you happy, they have to go. Let me tell you. When you surround yourself with the right people, life starts to feel like it's on a whole new level. It goes beyond just having good vibes and cheering each other on. Surrounding yourself with uplifting people is the key. Having a hype squad is not the only thing that matters. It's also important to build a network of trust. Accountability. Growth. The right people will encourage you to be the best you can be. They'll hold you to your goals and remind you of your potential when you're doubting yourself. They'll give you tough love when you need it and remind you of your why when things get hard. Remember, confidence isn't something you build in isolation. It's shaped by the people around you. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, it can affect your mindset and your self-esteem. If you have any doubt or feel envious of your success, you're going to start feeling those vibes. Whether you realize it or not. That's why it's so important to build a community of people who make you feel like your best self. Your environment and your community have a huge impact on your mindset, and your self-doubt and envy can come from anyone. It's important to be aware of this. I learned this when I started to feel bad about cutting ties with people who weren't supportive. I felt guilty. Like I was abandoning old friends. Then I found new people who were genuinely happy to see me win. These people inspired me to aim higher. Celebrated my victories. Pushed me through my failures. That's when I really started to notice my confidence skyrocketing. I stopped doubting myself so much because I had a solid support system that reminded me of my worth when I couldn't see it from myself. Let's be honest. Having friends who make you happy makes everything more fun. You're not stuck in gossip or negativity. You're coming up with new ideas. Supporting each other. Having a good time. It's like being in a constant state of, we've got this. And trust me. That kind of energy is contagious. When you're surrounded by people who believe in you, You start believing in yourself more. 2. So here's the deep truth: if you want to build real confidence, stop wasting time on people who are secretly hoping you fail and start investing in relationships that support you. Find those who cheer for your success, support you through your struggles, make you feel like anything is possible. Surround yourself with the right people. You'll see that you can do anything. Your confidence will become a solid, unshakable belief in yourself that nobody can take away. Go out and find your tribe. Trust me, life's too short to be around people who aren't. Encouragement. If you need help with that, I'm always here to encourage you. Now go be great. Make sure the people around you are clapping as loudly as I am for you. All right, folks. We've covered a lot today. If you're still with me, first of all, you're a legend. Second, let's review. Confidence isn't some magical, unreachable quality that only a few people have. It's developed through deliberate choices, even the ones that might be a bit uncomfortable. By making changes in your daily habits. This could mean limiting your time with negative people or taking risks in your life. Speak up even when you feel nervous. Surround yourself with people who motivate you. This is how you build confidence. Now, let's get real. Some of these steps will be difficult. You might question things like why you maintained toxic friendships or avoided failure. But trust me, it's during these times that you grow. If you're not pushing yourself, you're not learning. Your limits will never change your routine. If you want more confidence, you have to work for it. I'm not here to make it sound easy or to give you cheesy motivational quotes. You can't build confidence by pretending everything's fine or by looking at Instagram for Monday motivation. You have to do the hard work. Face failure. Speak your truth. Surround yourself with positive people. And, most importantly, take action even when you're scared. If you fail, your face along the way. Good. Now you have a funny story to tell at your next party because nobody wants to hear about easy wins. Right. Seriously. Becoming confident is not always easy. It is worth it. Every time you fail. Every time you set a boundary with a friend who is toxic. Every time you speak up when your heart is pounding. That's a victory. That's you telling the world, I'm not afraid to take up space. To be bold. To be unapologetically me. That, my friends, is what confidence is all about. Now, I hope you're feeling excited to go out there and start taking risks. But before you cut ties with a toxic friend or finally sign up for that scary project you've been avoiding, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up if it speaks to you. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more of this honest content that's all about helping you become the best version of yourself. Hey! I want to hear from you. What's the one thing holding you back from feeling truly confident? Maybe it's fear of failure. Maybe it's time for some social spring cleaning. Leave a comment and let's talk. Better yet, tell me about one of your big mistakes. Believe me, I've made plenty. We're all on this messy, beautiful journey together. Remember, confidence doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from making progress. It comes from making mistakes, learning from them. And maybe it's time to do some social spring cleaning. Leave a comment and let's talk. Better yet, tell me about one of your big mistakes. I've made plenty. We're all in this messy, beautiful journey together. Remember, confidence doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from making progress. Making mistakes. Surrounding yourself with people who make you better. You already have everything inside you to be the most confident, unstoppable version of yourself. You just need to start making those moves. One step at a time. Alright. Go be great. Make bold choices. Fail big. Cut off some toxic people. Don't forget to come back. Tell me all about it in the comments. See you in the next one.